Are we starting?
Yeah, we are. Welcome back to our podcast.
Hello.
Episode 2.
Yeah. Horoscopes.
Horoscopes. That's what we're gonna... Astrology.
Astrology.
Yeah. I want to go like a little bit of an explanation before I go into maybe a little bit of a rant about how I don't really fully believe in it. Like, I'm a superstitious person, right? So I'm actually kind of the person that would believe in astrology and horoscopes. But I always have trouble believing in it. That being said, I think it's kind of ironic because when we did an interview about our podcast, the first thing I said was, I'm an Aries. But I said that kind of ironically because everyone always wants to know like your sign.
Yeah.
So I'm not being a hypocrite.
Well, I think young people nowadays, like, we pretend not to believe in it, but we do. Like, I guess we want something to believe in. I don't know, because, like, when I was a teenager, I was, like, super into astrology. I thought it was real. I checked my horoscope, like, every day. My mom would, like, email me my weekly horoscope, you know? And I would, like, rely so heavily on it. And I think it helps if you feel like you don't really know who you are or, like, what you're doing in life. I feel like it can kind of help you figure it out, you know?
Yeah, I think there's definitely a side of that where people our age are having way more mental health issues than, our parents' generation did.
Yeah.
And I think something like astrology really helps our generation figure out ourselves. Like, we want to have answers. We want to know, okay, this is something about myself. I don't have to worry about it.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really vague explanation, but that's what I meant to say.
Well, and I think our generation and younger, they appreciate the memes. You know, like, I go on astrology meme accounts, like, every day on Instagram. But, like, I never actually look at my horoscope. Like, I don't rely on my horoscope anymore. Like, as I said, I did when I was a teenager, but I don't like, check it every day now. I haven't checked my horoscope in like, it feels like years.
Yeah, I used to check my horoscope when I was having, like, more struggle with my mental health. I would check it because I needed something to reassure myself that my life is going in a certain direction or good things can happen. Like, now I don't really want to believe in it because I feel like if I rely on it, it'll be a little more detrimental to my mental health than, like, do good.
Well, and also, it's kind of, when you're feeling better, you want to think that it's because of something that you did, not because of, like, fate or the stars or whatever, right?
Yeah.
You want to feel like it's something that you did to help yourself, or, your mental health is just getting better, or, you don't want to feel like, oh, it's just a coincidence or it's just fate or...
Yeah, because, like, I do believe that astrology, like, for example, horoscopes in the newspaper or other publications, it's meant for entertainment.
Absolutely, yeah.
But at the same time, I'm someone who, when I was a kid, thought I would have a good day if I wore a certain pair of socks or a certain pair of underwear.
I still do that.
Yeah, I do that sometimes too. But it's just weird how I've gone that almost total 180 on that kind of thing. Yeah. And I'd love to ask our listeners what they think about astrology. Like, how much do you let your horoscope dictate your day-to-day lives and stuff like that?
Yeah, I think, at least for me, I do judge people a little bit off of their signs. When I find out what they are, I'm like, oh, that makes sense, or, oh, they're this sign,
That's why I said I'm an Aries, because I feel like so many people want to know.
Yeah, Aries is definitely one of the more disliked
controversial
signs.
Yeah.
That and maybe Scorpio.
Yeah. I have an excuse is, like, I'm just an Aries, like, just barely an Aries.
Yeah.
If you want to get technical about it, my birthday is, like, the first day of Aries season. I love that term, Aries season.
Yeah. That's from Julian.
Yeah.
The Jenna Julian podcast.
Yeah.
He's very proud of being an Aries.
He is. You got to embrace yourself. You can't be like, oh, dang it, I'm an Aries. And
knows...
that's not an Aries trait, too, to be shameful about anything.
Exactly. So. He knows that he has chaotic energy and he embraces it. Gig's face bombing right now.
Yeah. For those of you who aren't watching, I am a little embarrassed to be in Aries just because of what comes along with it. But
that's just because you're right on the border. You're
Yeah.
like half Pisces, half Aries.
yeah. I'm a very, like, that's the thing is, like, one of the main traits of an Aries is that chaotic energy. But the thing is, I really appreciate order. I really appreciate
Oh, yeah. You
organization.
have like organized, chaotic energy.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I mean, when we first started dating and spending a lot of time together, you were like shocked about how immaculate and organized my room is.
Oh, yeah. You had like nothing in your room. I was like, what the hell?
Yeah.
How do you not have clothes on the floor?
Yeah, that's me. Although now I'm not so much that way. I think I've inherited some of
My messiness.
your messiness. Yeah.
Both my parents are Aries, but my dad is just like full chaotic, like same as me, like clothes on the floor, like knows where things are, you know, like, oh, that shirt, I know where that is, it's here, right? Like my mom is like the cleanest, like or most organized. It's like you, so organized, and like it's a different kind of chaotic energy. It's like creative chaotic.
Yeah, it's weird because for me, if clothes are on the floor and stuff is messy, I lose things. I can't find it. I don't know where things are. That's why I like having organization and a place for things.
See, I know where things are. I just I'm lazy.
Well, and I feel like as people get older, they appreciate that organization a little bit more. I've been told since I was very young, this is going to sound a little pretentious, I was told since I was very young that I have an old soul. Like, I'm very grown up for my age. I mean, now I'm an adult, so I can't really say I'm grown up for my age because I should be grown up. But that's what I was always told when I was like a kid, and especially working in an industry like the film and television industry. That was always really important, was
and being
appreciated.
Homeschooled.
Being homeschooled also made a huge difference. I think if I had gone to public school, I think we want to do a whole podcast on the difference between because you went to public school and I was homeschooled.
Yeah.
I graduated through homeschooling. Like the only time I actually went to public school was kindergarten and like 3 weeks of grade 1. So
I tried homeschooling, and oh man, it's not for me.
Yeah, it's not for everybody. You also have to have the right kind of support system because some people's parents just don't have the time.
Yeah, my parents didn't have the time, so I was just kind of figuring it out by myself, and it was not the best.
Yeah.
It lasted maybe like a week, and then I was like, I'm done. I can't do it.
Yeah. So both your parents are Aries.
Yeah.
My mom's a Gemini, right?
Yeah,
June, yeah. And my dad's a Scorpio.
I think.
So that's like weird because those are also two very
very different.
Well, those are also two very chaotic signs, right? Gemini is like, I don't know, I feel like there's a stereotype that all Geminis are crazy. But that's the thing, I get all my organized and like, I don't know, I guess OCD energy. I know I get that from my mom. And she's the one who's a Gemini, so I wonder, again, this is coming from someone who's very skeptical about the whole horoscope thing, but
the thing is, we also, like, especially for Scorpio and Gemini specifically, we hear specifically about the bad traits. And I feel like people who are really into astrology, it kind of gives them like if they're Scorpio or Gemini, it gives them an out. They're like, oh, see, I can be this way because it's my sign.
an excuse for bad behavior.
Whereas, yeah, exactly. You don't have to be, like, rude or, two-faced, whatever the Gemini, like, the twins.
Yeah, that's true. So I think you've written down a lot about both of our signs here,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, looking it up.
So maybe you could read mine and I'll read yours.
Sure. I actually
just
wrote
to make
yours
it a little bit interesting.
more clear because I thought you'd be reading it.
Oh.
And mine's kind of messy.
Oh, well, then maybe we should do ourselves.
Yeah, whatever.
Okay.
I can read yours and you can read mine.
Okay.
That's fine.
How about you do mine first,
Okay.
and then I'll do yours.
Well, you're in Aries, March 22nd. Just had your birthday. It said on the website that you're 8,412 days old, so I thought that was interesting because it doesn't seem like very much.
It doesn't. Yeah, I guess puts it in perspective too. Because as a young adult, I haven't really been here for that long.
Yeah. The main thing that it said was Aries has choleric temperament. Is that how you say it? Basically, chaotic energy.
Yeah, we had to look that up because we weren't really sure what it meant, and then I just thought of cholera, which is like a disease. Not a disease,
Aries
a
are
sickness.
sick.
Yeah. We sick. Yo.
Oh no.
Yeah, that was terrible. I apologize.
But what does choleric mean again? Like specifically?
Yeah, here, let's have Siri tell us. Choleric definition.
Choleric means
Bad-tempered,
irritable.
bad-tempered or irritable.
Right, irritable. That's 100%
That's very true.
you.
I actually was irritable earlier today. I am most mornings.
But interestingly enough, it says leader type. So
That's
even
true.
though you get irritable, you can still like be the leader.
I've always been told that I have good leadership qualities. And that was like where I thrive when I have not power, but like that organization that I can use.
Well, that makes you a good teacher. You've been teaching acting a little bit.
Yep. I've been learning a lot through that about that kind of leadership too. So that's interesting.
Other traits of Aries: determined, 100% you.
Very true.
Factual, you are very fact-based.
Yeah, I when someone tells me something, I have to go, well, I have to weigh it as
You have
like,
to, like,
is that a fact or
check.
how rational is that, or how emotionally swayed is it?
And
right?
that's like, we're totally opposite because you're very factual and I'm very emotionally driven, like for everything. Like my opinion will change a fact. I mean, not my emotions will change a fact in my brain. They sway me.
Yeah, that's very true.
Aries, always willing to help.
Yep.
Yeah, you always take charge. Like if I'm like I'll just be like, huffing and puffing, like sighing, and you're like, okay, what's going on?
Yeah. I think
How can I help?
I think it's not only the always wanting to help or always willing to help. I think it's also back to that leadership and determined thing.
Yeah.
I'm determined to solve the problem.
Mm-hmm.
I'm determined to take charge. So that's quite interesting because it's all interconnected.
Definitely, yeah. Sometimes not very sensible.
That's true. I guess like that could be widely applied to a lot of things, like not very sensible. I'm not saying I'm bad with money, but I have to put a lot of effort in to be good with money.
Yeah.
And I don't have a very good sense of style. Not very sensible with my outfits.
I don't think that's what it means.
No, I know. I'm just giving myself a little burn here.
Well, here's the next one. Aries are very self-convinced. It's hard to change their attitude.
Yeah, and that's actually something I've learned since becoming an adult, is I've got to become more open-minded. I've got to be more open to other people's opinions, and I got to be open to myself being wrong.
Well, and I remember when we first started dating, like, you're way better than you were then because you were very, I mean, for lack of a better term, like, sheltered.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, I guess not as open-minded as you are now. Like, you were still open-minded, but it...
Yeah, and I think it's kind of related to OCD. Like, things have to be a certain way. And going against that, for me, an instinct of being like, okay, well, things can work a different way. They don't have to work a certain way.
Yeah. So Aries' strengths are they're energetic, brave, strong, chivalrous, and idealistic.
Idealistic. I don't even know what the definition of idealistic is.
Should I look it up?
Yeah, sure.
But what do you think about the other ones?
Strong. I like the sound of that. Brave. I think there's definitely a segment of my personality that is like, I can go, okay, for the greater good here, I've got to kind of put my fear away and just sort of power through.
Yeah, you're really good at doing that.
Energetic, that's definitely true. I mean, in the last couple of years, I think just a combination of things like struggling with mental health and like being an adult and having adult responsibilities, I'm a lot more tired than I used to be. But yeah,
I looked up idealistic and it says characterized by idealism.
That's a great definition.
Unrealistically aiming for perfection.
Yes, 100% true. 100% true. And it like drives me crazy.
Perfectionist. They should have just said perfectionist.
Yeah, exactly.
How's that a strength?
Yeah, I don't know.
I guess it's like I don't know, it's good for you.
Yeah, because, I mean, like, let's say at a job or working in any situation, I want to have the best result.
Even if it takes you longer, that's better than doing a bad job.
I had one of the last job interviews I ever had. They said, "What's one of your weaknesses?" And I said, "It takes me longer to get things done because I want to do it right."
Yeah.
I was trying to come up with one of those, one of those answers that's like,
so good.
I'm so good. Here's a flaw that's not really a flaw. It's actually something good about me.
I'm too good of a team player.
Yeah. I work too hard.
Yeah. I'm too nice.
Yeah.
I guess that could be it.
Yeah, actually, in certain jobs, if you're too nice, it's like you could essentially be giving away money.
Absolutely. Like my grandma was a loans officer, and there was she could never say no to people because they'd tell her like a sad story, and she'd be like, "Crap, I need to help you," right?
Yeah.
But speaking of weaknesses, Aries can be awkward, defiant, stubborn, quarrelsome, resentful, intrusive, and unforgiving.
Yes to all of those about me, especially defiant and awkward and stubborn, quarrelsome. I guess all of them.
Yeah.
I try and be better at being forgiving.
I was gonna say you're not bad at forgiving.
Well, I've learned that about myself, that I am unforgiving, so I've tried to go against that and be like, well, things are never going to get better. With the relationship with this person or individual is never going to get better if I don't forgive them.
Yeah.
And that can be applied in so many parts of life.
Absolutely. Here's
me trying to come up with a reason why all of my flaws are okay.
No, but you're saying that you're working on them.
Yeah, I guess that's always a good thing.
Some famous Aries: Charlie Chaplin, Lady Gaga, Mariah Carey.
Oh yeah, I totally relate with her.
Robert Downey Jr. and Jay Baruchel, which I thought was really interesting. That's why I put it in there.
Yeah, that's funny. We actually I don't know if we actually officially met him, but we were at an event with Jay Baruchel not that long ago. So
he was being honored as a Canadian actor in the States. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is really cool.
Anyways, all those people have pretty chaotic energy.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Like Lady Gaga, Mariah Carey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez. I'm getting a real good image of myself here.
Do you relate to them?
I like Robert Downey Jr. and I like Charlie Chaplin. Like, those are two people who I do see parts of myself in them, or them and me, or whatever. I see that perfectionism for their craft. I see that, like, creativity, the leadership. So that's really interesting.
So I looked up your rising sign and your moon. And so your rising is Gemini.
That kind of makes sense.
So that means you're intellectual, practical, inquisitive, sophisticated, versatile, communicative, and curious. Those are your strengths in rising Gemini.
Yeah, that's true, actually. I'm a little too curious because I stare at people because I just want to know what's going on in everybody's life. So I stare at strangers, and it's actually a really bad habit of mine.
Well, and you always want to learn things.
Yeah, that's true. I want to learn, except for I don't want to go to school. So there's stubbornness
like once
right
a week
there.
You're like, maybe I should go to university.
Yeah, that's true.
So you can't say that you don't want to.
Yeah.
You're just scared of the debt, I think.
Yeah, I mean, that's like, on the H3 podcast they were talking about, is college or university even still worth it, because you spend 4 to 7 years in school. And you learn all this stuff. Like, I actually do think that the, like, sort of typical, or what's that word? I'll just use typical. I can't think right now. The typical way of education is kind of going out of style and is kind of obsolete.
Well, the thing is, it doesn't fit everybody. Not everybody learns the same.
Yeah.
So it's...
And that's why I really am hesitant about becoming in debt for the education, because I didn't do the typical way of education through primary school and high school.
And you want to learn. You don't want to take courses to get a job.
Yeah.
Right? So it's...
Yeah, exactly.
It's a little different.
Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah, some weaknesses for your rising Gemini. Nervous, restless, undecided, and arrogant.
I am arrogant. I'm really arrogant.
Okay.
I'm just joking.
Oh, thirst for knowledge. That's not a weakness, though.
That's not a weakness.
Easily excited, but remain grounded.
Yeah, that's probably the best piece of advice I've ever been given in my life. This is a quote from one of my longtime mentors: is keep your nose clean. And that's like, I guess that's really important to give to a young person, especially somebody who's striving to become more skilled and more talented in a field of attention, right?
What
Like
does that
for
mean,
me,
though?
keep your nose clean. It means like, don't be self-centered. Like,
I always thought it meant don't do cocaine.
well, that could be, maybe that's what he meant. Keep your nose clean. Don't do cocaine. No, actually, I think it meant just like, don't become too self-centered. Don't get too big of an ego, right? That's how I always interpreted it. And I feel like that's a really important thing to tell somebody who is young and in the entertainment field, right?
My nail polish just peeled off. I don't know why. It just came right off. Okay, anyways.
Yeah.
Your moon is in Taurus, which means you're level-headed, practical, hospitable, and you love children.
Interesting. That's very interesting.
Well, I thought the loves children part was interesting because most of the time it's like traits that are like kind of general, you know?
Yeah, because then it can apply to anybody.
Like anybody gets nervous, anybody gets restless, right?
Yeah.
But, I guess like not everybody can be hospitable and stuff, but loves children. I just find that so like.
Yeah, because that's specific. Some people spend almost their whole lives being like, I just don't like children. I don't want children. I don't want to be around children. That's not me. I kind of grew up
in a big family,
so I liked that kind of family value. But as I get older, I'm becoming more self-centered and more like, I'd rather take care of myself first in a way that is less self-centered. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if I were to have a child right now, I'd rather focus on getting my own life in order rather than sacrificing a child's childhood for that, you know?
Yeah. So that's it for yours.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And that bringing that point was like, I always felt that the things that were brought up in a horoscope are always very vague and very could be applied to anybody. Mm-hmm. But that being said, I kind of value horoscopes in that entertainment way.
Yeah.
Right? Because I love entertainment in almost every form. So.
Well, it's almost like a self-help type thing.
Yeah, exactly. It's like actually this last year in 2018, I really enjoyed reading self-help books. That was kind of my thing, right? I read The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Heck. And Tuesdays with Morrie was really good. And then one of my favorite books of all time is The Alchemist. And that's essentially a self-help book because it's a story of finding yourself. Mm-hmm. So I think these do serve a purpose. I don't think they're necessarily like toxic in any way unless you take them too seriously, because I think they can be toxic for yourself. I hate the word toxic. I don't know why I'm using it. But anyways, I just thought I wanted to talk about that a little bit because especially people who are young, people who are our age.
Kids these days
have a lot of trouble with their mental health more and more, have a lot of trouble with finding their path. We talked about school, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like something like a horoscope could almost be too much of a distraction if you take it too seriously.
Yeah.
So.
I understand that.
Yeah. Anyways, I'll read about your sign. I have a feeling this is going to be really accurate. I don't know, because that's the other thing too. If you're into horoscopes, does it sway your actions and your personality? Sorry, I need a burp.
I know. I've been like trying to very
Excuse
quietly burp this whole time. It's just stuck.
Yeah. First world podcast problems. Anyways, Erika is a Cancer.
Well, and can we just point out that I'm 8,300 days old today.
Today, yeah. Even. I'm exactly 112 days older than you.
Yeah.
I find that interesting. It's an even number. Anyways, I don't know why an even number has any, like, value.
I know, it just looks nice. It looks
does.
like a big number.
Yeah, it does.
Yours, 8412, just looks like a bunch of random numbers.
It does. It looks like some number from Lost or something.
Oh, no.
Anyways, Erika's a Cancer. The traits of a Cancer are melancholic, which is very true about you. You're very melancholy.
Well, that's my temperament.
Yeah. This is temperament, not just traits? Okay, temperament. So you're very melancholy. You will be in bed and you won't want to get out of bed. You're just like, I'm going to stay in bed all day.
If I don't have anything to do, I will literally stay in bed all day.
Yeah. So for me, if I'm in bed, I get anxious because I need to have something to do. So I'm like, I need to give myself something to do.
I get anxious too, but that just makes me want to stay in bed even more.
you're good-natured, which is very true. Like, that's one of the things that I love about you, is you have such a good heart.
I can feel my face getting red.
It's not, don't worry. But you do, you have such a good heart. And I feel like that's one of the things that makes me actually believe in horoscopes a little bit, is how well it lines up with you.
Whatever.
Sorry, I'm not trying to make you cry. Anyways, you're sentimental. That's also very
Yes.
true. I'm a sentimental person too. I have trouble getting rid of things.
Yeah, but I have trouble with like going to places that I've been before, and like the whole time I just think about those memories of like being there. So if I have like
yeah.
a bad experience somewhere, I can't go there anymore.
Right. That was something I learned when I started dating you, was I didn't realize people could be so associative.
Yeah.
Right? You associate a feeling with a place or a thing very strongly. And that's very interesting. I think.
And my grandma's like that. She's a Cancer as well. We're very, very similar.
Yeah. Although your dad, he's an Aries. I feel like he's like that too, but maybe that's just because he was raised by your grandma, and your grandma is very, very much that way, more than both you and your dad.
Yeah.
So maybe it's just that kind of influence. I have to find an explanation for everything. Sorry.
Because you're factual.
Yeah, exactly. A person of feeling, that is also very
I'm
true.
very led by my feelings.
Yeah.
All my decisions are based off of emotions.
Yeah. And I guess that's one reason why we work really well together, because I'm so factual, because I'm so like I go off of logic a lot.
And I go off emotion,
You go
so
off
we
emotion.
kind of balance each other out.
Yeah,
Find a middle
that's
ground.
true. I help you make logical decisions and not so involved with emotion, and you help me make more emotional decisions that are probably better for myself.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. We're so good for each other. Excitable. That is also very true. I could tell you about one small thing that's going to happen. It could light up your day.
But the issue with that is I like get latched onto ideas. So then if something doesn't happen, I get really let down.
Yeah.
So
Impatient.
I don't know what you're talking about.
We won't even expand on that. Lazy. Yeah, you're a little lazy. But the thing is, I'm lazy too. Like, I want to find the most efficient way to get something done, because I don't want to have to put a lot of work. I feel like some things don't need a ton of work.
But for me, it's more like if it's something I want to do, I put a lot of work into it, a lot of effort into it. If it's something I don't want to do, like, I have a really hard time getting myself to do it.
Yeah.
So I guess, I don't know if that ties in with lazy, but...
Yeah, maybe it's sort of like, for me, I would go back to the brave thing, right? And
yeah, you're good at powering through things you don't want to do.
Yeah, exactly. The powering through, and I mean, I don't know whether that's the way I'm raised or because of my sign, but I feel like lazy isn't really a right word for you, because it's more of the kind of, you kind of worry that things aren't going to work out.
Yeah.
So you take the I'd rather not fail,
Well,
or I'd rather fail than, you know what I mean? I can't even remember that phrase. Anyways.
I can't fail if I don't try.
Yeah, that one. Okay, so what is this part? Is this still...
Yeah, Cancers are more interested in the past than the future.
Yeah, daydreamers. That sort of goes together, right? Can appear weak, but they have diligence and a strong will. And that's something that I always tell you. You're stronger than you think.
But that ties into the, if I don't want to do it, I don't do it.
Yeah.
And if I want to do it, like, if I want to do something, I'm a really hard worker and I'm very diligent.
Yeah.
But if I don't want to do it, then good luck.
Yeah. Anyways, let's go into your strengths.
Yeah.
You're versatile and affectionate. Those are two separate things. I don't know why I put them together, but you're versatile. That's very true. I don't know why I said it versatile and versatile. I guess I'm trying to cover both Canadian and American demographic right there. Anyways, that's very true. You're capable at adapting, and I see it in your acting. You're good at playing a lot of different characters.
Thank you.
You're affectionate. You are affectionate. You're affectionate with your emotion.
Yeah. I have intimacy issues, I think, though.
Yeah. And I think that's a whole other thing. That's not to do with your sign.
I know. That's like, but it's with everybody, like even family, right? Like I'm a little aloof sometimes.
Yeah, and I think that's common with our generation, specifically.
Oh, yeah.
Our generation.
These days.
Because these days are really scared of intimacy. And
even with just like friends, you know, like
yeah,
like getting close to people.
yeah. I mean, I I would like to say that I'm better than most people our age because I've been like trained with my emotions as an actor and blah blah blah. But at the same time, I don't really have any close friends. Like, I don't really have that many friends to begin with. Like, you are my best friend, and we spend all our time together. But that's what makes us so good together, is we can spend literally every second together, and like not every second is the best, but we don't get sick of each other. It's like almost like having an imaginary friend. Not like that sounds bad,
Okay.
but you know how when you were a kid you have an imaginary friend and you just imagine they're there all the time, right? They're with you everywhere all the time.
I wasn't really like that,
No?
so I can't relate.
Oh, anyways. Okay, we're at your strength still, right? Family oriented. That's very true.
Family
Especially
is number one for me.
yeah, and family is important to me too. But my family isn't as close as your family, so that's sort of interesting. I learned to be better at being close to family through you.
Well, yeah, I remember, like, we went up to the Okanagan or something, or I don't know,
Visiting your family.
visiting family, and you were like, "Oh, I have family near here." I'm like, "Why have we never gone to see
Yeah.
your family?"
Yeah, and then we would start to make more an effort.
And then every time, we would go.
Yeah, visit both. Yeah, because there's time.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, that's the thing is I always go like, oh, there's not enough time to do everything we should do, but there's enough time
Oh,
for
yeah.
everything.
Well, and I find it interesting that they put family oriented and not loves children, because I do not like children.
Yeah.
Like, even when I was a kid, I didn't like children. Like,
As a child, you didn't like other children.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do with them. They're so, I don't know, they're scary. I don't like them.
I think that's part of like you knowing that's like what I said, knowing that you'd rather like take responsibility for yourself first than have to sacrifice responsibility somewhere, you know. You're also very humorous. That's true. You love your memes, you love your jokes.
I make jokes and you don't even realize they're jokes, because sometimes I'm so serious and I tell a joke and Kick's like, "What?"
What? And then you're like, "You didn't laugh at my joke." And I'm like, "I didn't even know you were making a joke." And sometimes you'll make a joke that was the reference was something you were talking about to yourself, like in your head, and then you'll like finish a joke and I'll have no idea where it came from.
Yeah. I often leave out the most important piece of information because I was thinking about it in my head. I just say like a random thing out loud. Kick's like, "I have no idea what you're talking about."
Yeah, that's true. Your next strength is you're tolerant, which I don't know if that's true. Like,
I can be pretty tolerant.
I think you
of people.
tolerate too much.
Okay, but
like-
that makes it true.
No, but I think it's a weakness, not a strength. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you tolerate, you don't stand up for yourself enough. Which, I mean, we all need to stand up for ourselves more. People, no matter who you are, stand up for yourself. Don't let people walk all over you. That's a really important life lesson. And I mean, I feel like I'm learning that every day.
Oh yeah, it's not something you just learn once and then you do it for the rest of your life. It's something you have to continuously work at.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like anything in life.
Yeah. Okay, let's get on to your weaknesses. Unsettled. That's very true. Very, very true. Moody. I'm not going to make a comment on that. Sensitive. Yes, you are very sensitive.
I
but
am, yeah.
it's, again, I feel like some of these are kind of in the wrong category because being sensitive can be a good thing.
Yeah.
You're really aware of other people's emotions. And that
Very
can be
intuitive.
that can be drawn back to that other trait, which is sentimental and a person of feeling. Wait, where was it? I feel like there was another.
Good-natured, sentimental, person of feeling. I don't know. What else was there?
And it can go along with like a strong will, because if you're sensitive and you're aware of other people, you can stand up for them and you can help them.
I'm good at standing up for other people. I'm not good at standing up for myself.
And they brought up melancholic again.
Well, they put sentimental in strength and weakness.
Yeah.
So that says something.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Melancholic, yeah.
Yeah. So
She's a sad girl.
I think again like I find these really interesting because I feel like some people can apply to all of these, you know?
Oh yeah.
So famous Cancers, Prince William, your royalty, basically.
I'm not Prince William.
No, I know. Ernest Hemingway, that's very interesting.
Yeah, he was an alcoholic.
Yeah, there's a reason why there's a daiquiri named after him. The Hemingway daiquiri. Yeah. Meryl Streep, that's very interesting because she's such a powerful woman.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I see her as, like, kind of a level in acting specifically that, like, I will always strive towards, but, like, I will probably never reach.
But we see what she projects.
Yeah,
we
that's
don't know
true.
What she's actually like.
That's true. Like, that's the same thing I think we talked in the last podcast about. Again, I forgot her name. Australian actress. Blonde.
I don't know.
Anyways, I said that every time she gets offered a role, she hides away.
Nicole Kidman.
Nicole Kidman. I don't know why I always forget her name.
And every time I don't know who you're talking about.
Anyways, she hides away and she has to be convinced that she can do it. And then, of course, she's a great actress. She does a great job.
I wonder what her sign is.
Yeah, we should look it up later. Frances McDormand.
Which I found really interesting. Meryl Streep and Frances McDormand. Because Frances McDormand is so, like, strong and, like... I said like way too much.
She's determined and she's like... I just said like... she's very... I don't know. Like, I need another word for strong and, like...
assertive.
She's almost kind of stubborn in a way.
Oh, yeah, very. But I mean, so am I.
But it's like, she stands out.
Mm-hmm.
She's not afraid to stand out. She's not afraid to stand up for herself.
Yeah, she's just herself, and she's like, you don't like it, then F you.
Then go away.
That's like my goal.
Yeah, if you don't like me, you don't have to be around me. That's basically her attitude, and I admire that. Princess Diana, that's very interesting. She was also very, not stubborn, but stood for what she believed in. Didn't give a crap what other people thought. Mm-hmm. Can you tell we're trying to keep our podcast PG?
Yeah, I said a bad word last time, and then I thought, maybe we should censor.
I think I said a bad word last time too, but I actually can't remember what it was.
I said the S word.
Yeah, I remember that. Anyways, so your rising moon, it's moon, right?
No, my rising sign.
Your rising sign. See, I don't know anything about all this stuff. Rising sign is Pisces, which is what I'm almost a Pisces, right?
No, that's your sun sign, your normal, like your...
I know, but the sign,
That's what you almost are.
Yeah.
But it's different when it's your rising, and it's different when it's your moon. They're all different.
Yeah. Okay. I have no idea. So, rising Pisces, you're intuitive, and that's very true. You're very intuitive, and, like, I bring that back to you're sensitive and you're emotional, right? You're intuitive to other people's emotions, and I feel like that's almost more important than being logical and following order, because biologically we're just humans together, right? And we need to be able to read people and you know what I mean, like navigate socially.
I guess so. I'm also really bad at hiding my own emotions,
but I think that's
like
okay.
When I'm feeling something, you see it on my face.
But I know you really well.
No, but anyone sees it on my face. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Agree to disagree. Let's see.
Okay, if I'm upset, you see it on my face.
Yeah.
But
if you're mad, yeah.
Okay. Anyways, moving on. I'm right.
Yeah, you're right. Strengths: faithful, gentle, sensitive, altruistic. Those are all very true about you. And again, I feel like the basis of Cancer is that emotional drive.
Yeah.
Everything's driven through emotion.
Well, this is Pisces, rising Pisces.
Oh, right. See, I still don't know what I'm talking about.
But I find it really interesting that for Pisces, or for rising Pisces in Cancer, whatever, I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just saying words. I find it really interesting that they put sensitive as a strength, whereas in Cancer, it's a weakness.
So there you go. You're getting all your bases covered. I mean, again, that's kind of where I get kind of skeptical, right?
Well, but maybe it's like Pisces are sensitive in a good way, and Cancers are just way too sensitive.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. And you get a little bit. It's not like math, where one thing cancels out the other. It's where you get a little bit of something affecting another thing.
I don't know really what you mean.
It's like bits and pieces. It's like a recipe. Your horoscope and your sign is a recipe. So you have a little bit of one spice and a little bit of another spice, and they might kind of be opposites of each other, but they don't cancel each other out. Wow, I did a good job at explaining that. That was also half sarcastic, because I don't know if that was good or not. Anyways.
You're just saying, if I'm wrong, then it was sarcastic.
Yeah, basically. I'm also saying I have no idea what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, so
weaknesses
for your rising sign. Mysterious. That is very true about you. When we first started dating, I had no idea what the heck was going on with you, you know? And that was very attractive too, because you were just so mysterious.
Yeah, why is it a weakness?
Yeah, I don't know why it's a weakness. It should be, but I guess maybe because it's you're not being true. You know what I mean? It's kind of like.
But I wasn't doing it on purpose.
No, it's a trait. It's like a natural thing that comes
like
out.
On Sims,
you're not manipulating.
In Sims, when you put in the character traits, that's what this feels like.
Yeah, well, that's. Yeah, but that's the thing. Maybe it shouldn't be a weakness, because the mysterious isn't manipulative.
It's alluring.
It's alluring, exactly.
From what I've heard, I don't know.
Extravagant.
Extra, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, because also, I mean, we're both this way. In a material kind of way, we're not really extravagant, because...
I used to be as a teenager.
Oh, really? So I changed that about you.
Oh, yeah. I had like $4 in my bank account. Whenever I got paid, I would just spend it all.
Right. And then I taught you how to save your money.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, is like, young people, we're so impulsive. I feel like all of us are impulsive. So it's kind of like, with money, we're all bad. I
feel like it's also like, you know, we feel like we should be saving up for a house, or, you know, saving up. I mean, not so much to get married anymore. People don't really. It's not as important. They're not finding it necessary, but.
Unless it's a religious thing.
But like saving up for a house, we feel like that's so necessary, so we save up, and then we're like, well, can't friggin' afford anything, so why am I even doing this? So then you kind of spend, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
At least that's what I do. I can't speak for my whole generation.
Yeah, that's true. Let's see, where am I? Daydreamer, that is very true. I think it was mentioned earlier in one of your traits.
Yeah, sometimes you talk to me and I don't even hear you.
Yeah.
Because I'm daydreaming.
And I can tell I'm talking to you and you're like, just off in another world. That's okay though, because you're probably there being creative.
Yeah.
Weak-willed.
Which...
Unfortunately, I feel like that's actually quite true for you.
Okay, but earlier it said strong-willed and you were like, that's true, so...
Yeah. Your pick. But again, we're talking about two things that can both be there. They don't cancel each other out.
Yeah. I guess it just depends on the situation.
Yeah. And this is your rising sign, so it's not true all the time, right?
I don't know. One of them is how other people see you, and then the other one is who you actually are inside, or something like that. I don't know. I could be wrong.
That's just too complicated for me.
Starting to believe it less and less as we go on.
I was already skeptical when we started. Self-tormenting. I feel like we both have that though.
Yeah.
We're both very critical of ourselves.
I'm so mean to myself about like the past. Like where is that where it says
lives in the past?
Yeah. Cancers. I was like concerns. Cancers are more interested in the past than the future. Yeah. 100%. Absolutely. I'm always like 10 times a day I'm thinking about all the like bad stuff. Not even bad stuff, but just like dumb stuff I did when I was younger.
I mean, that's also a part of anxiety, right? You can't sleep because you keep thinking about something dumb you said like 6 years ago.
Oh yeah, that happens to me all the time. Or it's like something that I didn't mean to say. It just like came out weird, and then I didn't get a chance to like fix it. That stuff haunts me. And
you know what's weird is I was that way for like a year of my life. And I very clearly remember being 13 and not being able to sleep because I kept thinking about things that I did like a week ago or 5 years ago that embarrassed me. Mm-hmm. And so I wonder if it's like something you grow into, and then some people grow out of it and some people don't.
But like when you're 13, also you're like going through puberty, hormones are going crazy.
Well, and like I was kind of aware of that too, and I would get so frustrated. I'd be like not be able to sleep. I'd be like, stupid hormones. Can I just go to sleep? Can I just grow up already?
See, people like I knew it was hormones, but I'd be like, what's wrong with me?
And that's like me being logical, organized, and then you going off of emotion. Mm-hmm. So that's quite interesting.
What's next?
Likes to give advice, but doesn't like following it.
Okay, you don't gotta call me out like that.
Sorry, I didn't mean to be too transparent there, but that's kind of true about you.
Yeah. Longs for close relationships, but fears it.
Yeah, and then that's back to that fear of intimacy.
I guess that's from my rising.
Yeah.
I have an excuse. My moon.
Your moon is Gemini, enthusiastic and curious. Needs communication.
But doesn't communicate.
That's not on there.
No, but that's the truth.
Yeah. What does this say? Doesn't
like routines.
Doesn't like routine.
They get bored in routines.
And I think that's why part of like I was raised to be like, you need to have a routine. You need to have structure to your life. Clean up after yourself. Like keep your area, keep your space clean and your stuff organized, because that'll help with life. That's kind of how my mom raised me, right? So I think you don't like that, because your mom tried to raise you that way, and you'd just be like, nah. No way.
Yeah, my mom was so organized, and she's like, here, this is how you organize. I'm like, I don't need to know, it's fine.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to organize, so.
Yeah. I want to get more comments on these. Like, I feel like we got a really good response with, like, views and people listening to our first podcast, but I want to get more interaction, more conversation. So if you guys feel like it, drop a comment, let us know your sign, how you feel about astrology and horoscopes in general, how much you believe in it.
And like look up your rising and moon signs. It's just like the time you were born.
Yeah.
And there you go.
There have been times where I will go on a website that has all the information, and there's just so much there that I don't want to read it, so then I just leave. Well,
I found this really good one. That didn't have too much information. It was quite like basic. Let's see if I can find it. Where was it?
Yeah, horoscopes. Yes. And horoscopes are those like old age thing. They've been around forever. And
I opened Safari, and the last thing I looked up is, why are young people obsessed with astrology?
I think we can find the answer within ourselves.
Okay, so this thing is called astrosofa.ca. So I guess it's Canadian. Your future is written in the stars. Okay. But anyways.
See, someone who believes in it is mocking it.
Well, I don't think my future is written in the stars. I don't think the stars have a plan for every single person on Earth.
And that's what I think, aside from personal beliefs and religion and all that, I personally like to believe, I just said personal beliefs aside, but my personal belief and my personal values is that I can choose my future. Like if I work hard at something, I can choose a path rather than it's already chosen for me.
Yeah.
Right? Because then it's kind of like, if you have any kind of mental health issues, that's depressing in itself. Anyways, so that was a fun podcast. I liked talking about that, and I liked kind of pooping on it a little bit. You know, I was gonna use another word, but I just decided to say poop instead.
Well, and the thing is, we went into this podcast. Well, I mean, not went into it. For the past few days, we had been trying to figure out what to do, and we couldn't figure out a podcast to do. We have a big list of podcast ideas, and we just couldn't settle on one. And then Gig was just like, why don't we just talk about our signs or something? And we were like, okay. We just decided that yesterday.
Yeah, and I think we both wanted something that was still with the theme of the podcast, right? Mm-hmm. We could talk about our generation and how it affects us and everything. But we didn't want something too serious. We will have more serious podcasts in the future where we talk about social issues and politics and whatnot, and our opinions on it, because of course these podcasts are just our opinions and how we interpret something, and obviously there might be something we miss, so that's why we want you guys to comment and have a conversation with us.
If you know a lot about astrology, school us, please.
Yeah, call us out. But at the same time, we want to have like fun podcasts where we laugh and joke and
Absolutely.
make fun of ourselves and that kind of
we're
thing.
going away this weekend and we just wanted like a nice, fun, relaxed podcast and we got it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's really nice.
So I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. As usual, we're going to call out a nonprofit organization or charity that we would love it if you guys support instead of like choosing to send us money or whatever.
Yeah,
right?
we don't need it. We have a good setup here and we're fine. So if you feel like you want to support us, we would ask you to instead support BC Children's Hospital Foundation. Since 1982, BC Children's Hospital Foundation
segue there.
has been raising money to improve the health and lives of young people who are cared for by the BC Children's Hospital. You can donate at bcchf.ca. I got my heart surgery there when I was 13, and they're amazing.
I'm pretty sure I've been to BC Children's Hospital too.
I have nothing bad to say about them. They're amazing.
Yeah, I mean that. Like we wanna put out there causes that you guys can support that aren't controversial, that have a good cause, like it's for the greater good, right? I mean, we're talking about supporting young people here, people who are in a bad situation, who need help. Mm-hmm. So please consider supporting them. Anyways, this was so much fun. I every time we do a podcast, I'm like, wow, like that's so much fun. So I hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you so much for watching.
Okay.
And listening, of course,
Listening too, yeah. All right, see you guys later. Bye.